Welcome in YouTube and Grim Dawn community. Today I want to show you my freshly updated Chaos Reckoning Sentinel. And this is gonna be a two-part video. First off, I'm gonna show you basically the old build with just like some small little tweaks for this current 1.1.8 patch. And then I'm gonna show you like another, a little bit different setup, which I think is really good on this current patch as well. So first off, we have the items, right? Nothing really changed here because this is like the older version. Just like with some updates that I'm gonna show you here in a second. DPS is still like going pretty strong, and OA is pretty strong whenever you have Ascension up as well. As you can see, 3.6k almost. That's pretty crazy. The flat damage is not necessarily the best, and attack speed is also like, I mean, okay for 200 I guess, but not like super amazing. Attack speed does increase whenever you have this Battle Cry proc active from your choices of Barbaras, however, so this is pretty nice. Now when it comes to the skills, really this doesn't change that much either, right? You have Breath of Dream, you have Solar Switchfire, you have Doombolt as a 1-pointer, you have Possession at 19 out of 12, you have Eye Reckoning as your main ability, together with Soulfire to reduce enemy damage. Then you have 1 point into Guardian and 1 point into the Celestial Presence. This is actually necessary because only if you have the Celestial Presence aura active on your Guardians, then these Guardians will actually benefit from the 15% Aether and Chaos Resistance reduction on the modifier from this Conduit of Divine Whispers, so it is actually absolutely necessary to have this point in Celestial Presence. Also, this older version now reduced resilience up to 11. I think 11 is like still fine. That's, you don't need 14 points here that badly. Prince of Virtue is like a 14-1-1 right now, for now, but I will definitely put Haven up a little bit more because this one got buffed now in the latest patch, and the second variant that I'm going to show you here in a bit will include 10 out of 10 Haven, but actually also not use a Judgment anymore, which is, I believe, necessary on this variant, but it won't be necessary on the other variant. Also, Ascension at 18 out of 12 here, maxed out, as well as 12 out of 12 Clarity of Purpose. You don't see this that often anymore on Oathkeepers. In this case, however, I think it's pretty nice because you can actually go for like Dying God as well as Hourglass at the same time. Also notice that this current iteration of this older variant still has Revenant and Spear of the Heavens. I'm gonna show you like another devotion setup here in a second. And the other setup was perfectly able to, for example, kill Mogdogan as well now in this current patch. But you could also run this version. Like this version basically trades Revenant, which you don't need because you have flat RR on the Doom build anyway. And like back when I spec'd into Revenant on this build, Revenant was like really good, and this got nerfed, like attack speed got nerfed here a bit, and I think the flat RR also got nerfed a bit, so this is actually worse now than before. And actually this, when you go node, it's really crazy good now, so whenever you have like at least 4 reds and 6 blues, you can always go for like a 3-pointer into Wendigo here on pretty much any build that can like make use of attack speed or casting speed. We switched over to Sadist Guide instead of Eel. This will give us a little bit more like physique as well as cold and lightning resistance, as well as 3% Fizz Rest. That's like the most important part about this. Also, this devotion variant includes Ghoul and the Ghoulish Hunger proc, so this should be safer, especially for hardcore. And also we have basically Viper for offensive ability instead of the 3 points into Spear of the Heavens. This will result in a little bit lower OA overall, but it will also result in more attack speed as well as more physical resistance. So we still have like up to 3.5k OA, but also we are rocking 37% Fizz Rest instead of a little bit lower that we had before. Okay, this is just a small minor devotion change to this old setup, and the rest of this video will now focus on the newer setup, which also uses different items. So it's time to show you the second version of this Eye of Reckoning Chaos Spin2Win Sentinel, and this time around we're using some other items like the Covenant of the Three helmet, the Voidrant talons, Demon Bone leg plates, and Black Star of the Seed. The remaining items are still exactly the same. I didn't even switch around these shoulders or the green boots here. Obviously, if you don't have these exact affixes, feel free to use anything that like fixes your resistances here. That's like perfectly fine. Also, if you don't have the shoulders at all, then you can always go back to the mythical Bear King medal, and that one will like cap out your Eye of Reckoning instead of mythical Black Star of the Seed. I went for the Black Star of the Seed because this one has basically the same amount of attack speed that the other Bear King medal has as well. Also, this one has additional lifesteal and additional chaos damage. Also, it has +3 to Solar Switchfire and +2 to Second Right, making me able to have 22 points into Solar Switchfire and 18 points into Second Right. Also, I have 20 points into possession now due to the Voidrant talents, and due to this one like maxing out Solar Switchfire, I don't really have to worry about getting pluses to Witch Fire here on water and like on the glove slot instead, right? What you want to aim for on these ones is high acid to chaos conversion. You can see mine is kind of not that great. High chaos flat damage, you can see that mine is also not that great. High attack speed, you can see that mine have max roll here. And also you want high elemental resistance cells because, well, your windows. Because, well, yeah, the resistance types that this one struggles the most with is elemental, especially fire. Like you can see that almost all of my augments have like elemental or fire resistances on them. And yeah, like the more elemental slash fire resistance you get on gear, the less of those like augments you will need to use for fire resistance. Convenient of a 3 helmet. This one gives you +1 to all the skills, right? All the skills across the board in Sentinel. So that's like another +1 all skills that the other build did not have. However, you do lose lots of like weapon damage to Doombolt on the helmet and the glove slot. So overall, this setup will have 1 second less recharge Doombolt and like +1 all skills to like all the supportive skills and Occultist and Oathkeeper, as you can see here. But Doombolt, even though it's also like maxed out now because I have like so many more like points to spend into Doombolt now compared to before, it actually deals less damage than before. It will have like 1 second less cooldown, so like 3.4 seconds skill recharge instead. But yeah, it doesn't deal quite as much damage anymore because it only has 40% weapon damage from Wrath of Tenebris and not like 180%, which it had before. So that is, I'm not sure if I like the new Doombolt on this variant that much. I kind of like the older Doombolt more. But apart from that, the Convenient of the 3 actually gives like so many benefits to like all the other skills, like +1 all skills, obviously awesome. Also, cooldown reduction is very nice for Ascension. That's very nice for Ascension actually. And yeah, because of the +1 all skills here, I was able to, like, for example, put Ascension to 19 points, Aspect of the Guardian to 16 points, Possession to 20 points. Like, these are gonna make you a little bit tankier overall. Like, the physical resistance here in Aspect of the Guardian, the 19% absorption in Possession, 224% absorption here now. So that's pretty good. Also, what this helmet has is a proc called the Black Flame proc. This one reduces OA and DA of enemies by 100 each, which isn't like a lot, but I think if you use this one, you are like fine removing Judgment and Crushing Verdict. I know this one was like 230 something DA reduction, so yeah, the other version has like way better effective OA because of Crushing Verdict than this one. But this version is smoother gameplay because I basically have like one less button to press, right? I don't need to use Judgment anymore. I can just like put Ascension to my W now and have like another like free slot for a pot, or just don't use the slots as well. Like if you are a lazy player and if you just want to like play Spin2Win to relax and you don't want to like press any other buttons, then this variant I would say is probably better for you because it does have one less button to press. So yeah, this is basically a one button to spin, one to buff yourself, another one to buff yourself, one movement ability here, one movement ability here, and Doombolt to like reset the cooldown on Ascension kind of build. So that's, I would say, basically as one button-y as it gets when it comes to Hour of Reckoning. When it comes to the devotions, these are basically the same devotions as the updated first version, with one exception, or actually like with two exceptions, in that it doesn't use Spider anymore, it doesn't use Jack anymore, and it doesn't use Viper anymore. You can obviously use Viper instead of Wretch. I kind of took Wretch here for the like bleed resistance and like some physique and like some percent chaos damage. However, Wretch is like not that super necessary. If you have like better bleed resistance, for example, you could like switch out one of these Space Scorch platings on your belt or boots towards a Agdenborg leather instead. Then you don't need Wretch, then you can just take Viper instead for the offensive ability here, which is pretty good. And the other thing I did switch around is I used Guardian's Gaze and Hawk now instead of Spider and Jackal actually. So this means that I lost like 11% attack speed, which is actually a lot. So this one is kinda lower on attack speed, but we gained the Guardian's Gaze, which is like a pretty cool proc that like spawns eyes around you to like spin with you while you spin. If you bind this to like a Reckoning, they will like start spawning when you spin, so that's pretty cool. I need to max this out though, like 10 out of 25 is obviously not maxed out yet. But yeah, this one got buffed on the latest patch as well. This one now features 15% last steal instead of 5%, so that will like give you some additional damage as well as last steal. Also, the base of this is chaos and acid damage, and we do convert more acid to chaos now than before because of the chest like converting acid to chaos and the gloves converting acid to chaos. However, these rolls are pretty bad, and if you have like, well, 30% each, you can get like up to 60% Eyes of the Chaos conversion, which would benefit the Eyes of the Guardian, as well as the flat damage from Bloodreek a lot more than what I have right now, right? Also Hawk on top, well, because you need 7 or like rather 6 greens in total, and yeah, Hawk also gives you like offensive ability and some crit damage, so that's not too bad. If you check out the overall stats of this build though, you can notice immediately that the OA and the A is lower than before. Well, why is that? Because I did also change around the augment on the weapon, which you can't see because my camera's in the way. There we go. This one is now Potent Dreek's Terror and not Ravager's Eye anymore. This, however, will give me a lot more like flat as well as percent chaos damage. So the overall DPS is higher than on the other version. If you prefer to have higher DA though, feel free to go back to Ravager's Eye. That's not like a must-have to like use this Dreek's Terror here. When it comes to offensive ability, I mean, it is still okay with Ascension. Like 2.8k also without Ascension is also kind of okay. And you do reduce OA and DA by 100 each through the Black Flame proc. However, that is a lot less than the OA that you had before, and also the A reduction on Crushing Verdict that we had before in the first variant. So yeah, overall you will probably see like less crits on this guy, but you have higher DPS, and this build can basically get up to like 350k DPS if you proc Hungering Void as well, like this, and then like use Ascension, you have like 350k DPS. That is quite a lot. So I'm not quite sure like which setup overall is going to be better. I mean, you will have the higher like amount of crits, as well as maybe the actual higher crits of the other build. But this one should probably have like better like average DPS. At least it seems like it. Other than that, which other stands have changed a bit? Well, you have like better stun resistance without Ascension, and you have a little bit higher armor. Still around 35% Fizzerness. I think this was like basically the same as on the first setup, or like a little bit lower than in the updated first setup actually. Yeah, 80% slow rush, 0 petrify resistance without Ascension. That's kind of scary for like things like Tomb of the Heretic, but this build certainly fares well in the dungeon nevertheless. And yeah, talking about dungeons and endgame stuff, let's check out how good this build is in that endgame content. The build is able to tackle all of the main campaign content easily, including all the dungeons, for example also the hidden Lokar dungeon, which you need to be able to tackle to, for example, farm Dark One set for Vitality Conjurers, or also Lokar himself, without any problem in under 30 seconds to get the Lokar leveling set. And also the hardest out of them, the Tomb of the Heretic, which the build actually clears rather easily, even with only like 0 permanent Petrify resistance, as well as 50% temporary Petrify resistance whenever Ascension is up. Both the Magi's and Morganath, as well as also the Death Room, were like kind of smooth on this character, no problems at all there. Also the build can clear SR 50 to 51 very smoothly, even without like pulling enemies one by one. And it can also survive 65 to 66 without pulling enemies one by one, but I would still definitely recommend pulling them one by one and like a 65 and higher, because otherwise you might get some like unlucky combinations with like mutators as well as enemies, and then it can be like super scary. On top of that, I also was able to clear Crucible 150 to 170 in under 7 minutes, pretty consistently on this character, even with extra spawns. If you want to check out the SR runs as well as the Crucible runs, there are links to these full runs in the description of this video, so make sure to check them out as well in the description of this video. And also this new fresh second variant can not only kill Mogjogan, like the first variant, but also kill Ravager actually. And if you want to see the full Ravager fight, check it out on YouTube as well. I have a link down below alongside the Shadowram and Crucible videos. Alright, this is gonna be it for this video. I'm gonna say thank you everybody for watching. Thank you so much everybody for supporting me also on Patreon. If you want to support me as well, check out my Patreon. The link should be down below as well. And I hope to see you around on one of my next videos as well as one of my next streams maybe as well. Take care, bye bye, I'll see you guys around. 500k, what? 582k DPS, 600, what's this dude? Also what the fuck, this Night Shard just dropped from this totem, like undead totem. This was not a Celestial totem. So apparently the Night Shard can also drop from other totems, apart from Celestial totems. Which is news to me at least.